In the records of human history, few chapters are as painful and reprehensible as the story of slave breeding. This is the dark tale of how human beings were systematically bred as chattel, stripped of their humanity, and subjected to a life of unimaginable suffering. Join us as we journey through the history of slave breeding. Our story begins in the early 16th century, when European powers embarked on a brutal quest for wealth and domination. The transatlantic slave trade was born, and it would forever change the course of history. During 1500s, in the bowels of overcrowded ships, Africans were packed like cargo. Families torn apart, languages lost, cultures shattered. The voyage was a harrowing ordeal, known as the Middle Passage. In 1600s, once in the New World, enslaved Africans were thrust into a merciless system, the plantation. These agricultural giants spanned the American South, producing vast quantities of cotton, tobacco, and sugar. The demand for labor was insatiable. As the plantation system expanded, so did the demand for enslaved labor. This insidious demand led to the rise of breeding farms, where enslaved people were treated like livestock. By the early 1700s, enslaved women, often referred to as breeding women, were subjected to a life of constant sexual exploitation. They were forcibly mated with men chosen for their physical attributes, all in the name of producing valuable offspring. By the late 1700s to early 1800s, enslaved people were valued based on their physical attributes, much like livestock. Those deemed strong, healthy, and capable of hard labor were highly prized. The brutality of this system knew no bounds, as human beings were reduced to commodities. Amidst this horrific backdrop, enslaved individuals displayed extraordinary resilience and courage. They sought refuge in their cultural practices, forging a sense of identity and community that transcended their oppressors' cruelty. During 1800s, in hidden gatherings, they maintained their languages, songs, and traditions, defying their oppressors' attempts to erase their humanity. By the mid-1800s, acts of defiance, both large and small, were commonplace. Whether it was sabotaging equipment, escaping bondage, or staging rebellions like Nat Turner's in 1831, enslaved people resisted their oppressors at every turn. The 19th century saw the rise of the abolitionist movement, a powerful force dedicated to ending the scourge of slavery. Abolitionists like Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and Harriet Beecher Stowe used their voices and pens to expose the horrors of slavery. Their works, like Uncle Tom's Cabin, shocked the nation's conscience. The Underground Railroad, a network of safe houses and brave conductors, helped thousands of enslaved individuals escape to freedom in the North or Canada. It was a testament to the human spirit's unyielding yearning for liberty. The Civil War, which raged from 1861 to 1865, ultimately led to the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. Enslaved people were finally declared free, but the legacy of slavery would cast a long shadow. The post-Civil War era brought hope, but it was short-lived. The Reconstruction period gave way to the oppressive Jim Crow laws, institutionalizing segregation and racial discrimination. Today, the painful legacy of slave breeding still echoes through American society. The scars of this dark chapter are visible in systemic racism, economic disparities, and social injustices that persist. The history of slave breeding is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty, but also of its enduring resilience and the unbreakable spirit of those who fought for freedom. It is a history that must never be forgotten, for only by acknowledging our past can we hope to build a more just and equitable future. Subscribe to Truth Revealed to stay intrigued and informed.